Israel had turned its back on God. The nation was spiritually starving. King Ahab and Queen Jezebel had replaced the worship of Yahweh with the worship of Baal. Into this dark chapter, one man stepped out of the wilderness to declare a war. Not with weapons, but with the weather. The story begins abruptly. There is no introduction to Elijah's childhood or lineage, only his sudden appearance in the royal court. He marches straight to King Ahab and delivers a decree that attacks the very heart of their false religion. Baal was believed to be the rider of the clouds, the god of the storm and rain. Yet Elijah declares, "As the Lord God of Israel lives, there shall not be dew nor rain these years, except at my word." This wasn't just a weather forecast. It was a direct challenge. Elijah stood before the earthly king to represent the heavenly king, effectively shutting down the economy and the religion of the land in one sentence. But immediately after this bold public stand, God commands a private retreat. He tells Elijah to hide by the Brook Cherith. The messenger needed protection, but more importantly, he needed preparation. At the brook, Elijah learned the lesson of total dependence. He could not farm, he could not buy food, and he could not ask neighbors for help. In a twist of irony, God sent ravens, scavenging birds, to deliver fresh meat and bread every morning and evening. It was a paradox of providence, God using the unclean to sustain the holy. Elijah learned that before he could stand tall on a mountain, he had to learn to sit by a brook and trust God for his daily bread. Eventually, the brook dried up. But God's provision didn't end. It just moved. God sent Elijah from a place of isolation to a place of desperation, Zarephath. This was Gentile territory, deep in the heart of Baal's homeland. There, he met a widow. She wasn't wealthy. She was gathering sticks to cook a final meal for herself and her son before they died. The scene is heart-wrenching. Elijah asked her to give him first what she intended for her last meal. It sounded selfish, but it was actually an invitation to faith. Because she put God's prophet first, God suspended the laws of nature in her kitchen.
Neither shall the cruse of oil fail.
Thank you for this day.
For the duration of the drought, the bin of flour was not used up, nor did the jar of oil run dry. It teaches us that God's supply is often hidden in our willingness to surrender the little we have left.
Blessed be the name of the Lord our God.
Thank you.
But the supply of food did not guarantee an absence of sorrow. In the midst of this miraculous provision, tragedy struck. The widow's son fell sick and eventually stopped breathing. In her grief, the woman turned on Elijah, wondering if his presence had only served to judge her sins and kill her son. Elijah didn't offer a theological defense. Instead, he took the limp body from her arms and carried him up to the loft where he stayed. There, he did something unprecedented. He stretched himself out over the child and cried out to the Lord, pleading for the boy's life to return.
O Lord my God, hast thou also brought evil upon the widow with whom I sojourn, by slaying her son? O Lord my God, I pray thee, let this child's soul come into him again.
And the Lord heard the voice of Elijah. The soul of the child came back to him, and he revived. When Elijah brought the living boy back down to his mother, her response changed from fear to certainty.
See, thy son liveth.
She declared, "Now by this I know that you are a man of God." It was a miracle that proved God wasn't just the sustainer of life, but the restorer of it. After 3 years of silence, the word of the Lord came again. Go, present yourself to Ahab.
Unto Ahab, and I will send rain upon the earth.
On his way back to the danger zone, Elijah encountered a man named Obadiah.
Lord,
Obadiah is a fascinating contrast to Elijah. He was the governor of Ahab's house, a man working right under the nose of the wicked king, yet he feared the Lord greatly.
Art thou that, my lord Elijah?
I am. Go, tell thy Lord. Behold, Elijah is here.
What have I sinned, that thou wouldest deliver thy servant into the hand of Ahab, to slay me? Lord thy God liveth. There is no nation or kingdom, whither my Lord hath not sent to seek thee.
And when they said, He is not there, he took an oath of the kingdom and nation, and now thou sayest, Go, tell thy Lord, behold, Elijah is here.
While Jezebel was slaughtering the prophets, Obadiah was secretly hiding 100 of them in caves and feeding them. Here, we see two different types of faithfulness working toward the same goal. Elijah was the outsider, the public agitator calling down fire. Obadiah was the insider, working quietly within a corrupt system to save lives. When they met on that dusty road, the hidden believer and the public prophet joined forces, setting the stage for the ultimate showdown that was to come. From the palace to the brook, from the widow's house to the governor's secret, Elijah's journey reminds us that God is not limited by our environment. Whether in a drought, a famine, or a